So it's interesting that corn that came from teosinte is flexible and the parent plant is not. So here's what is eating at me. The Native Americans developed corn over the course of thousands of years. It's one of the most amazing things humans have ever done. So why, over the course of thousands of years, if the corn blowing over was a problem, why didn't they fix that? Why didn't they only replant the seeds of the plants that didn't fall over, and therefore over thousands of years they would have domesticated the plant to have stronger stalks, and it would never fall over? Why didn't they do that? These things blow over all the time and they don't break. They lay over and then they start curving back up. It's called goosenecking. The corn will curve back up toward the light and it keeps on growing. Or it doesn't hurt their gardening practices in a way that mattered to them at all, because otherwise they would have fixed it. You have to assume they would have fixed it. Over thousands of years, just a few different, the tiniest different seeds that you plant in the ground is going to have a compounding effect over thousands of years, and these plants still blow over. Why is that? So what if corn that was developed slowly and diligently over thousands of years really isn't that much like the corn we picture growing in the fields today, because they have modified it so quickly to get it to be stronger and stand upright? What if corn, the way it was originally grown, always fell over? Always fell over. Always fell over. So what's my point? If the idea of a survival seed is that in the case of an emergency, or if one food system fails, you can quickly pivot and begin taking advantage of a new food system. And we get an awful lot of our food from corn and corn products. And if that's going to continue, we have to have the right seed and the right practices ready to go, so that in one season we can just transition. Like, okay, well, we don't have gasoline anymore. Refineries don't work. So now we have to do this by hand. If you have the wrong seed, you're going to be wasting a lot of effort trying to farm plants that have been genetically modified to be farmed with machinery versus something that was domesticated over thousands of years to be harvested by hand. So Hopi blue corn that you can still buy today hasn't really been touched. The genetics haven't been manipulated by modern farmers. You're getting the exact same seed that Native Americans planted, grew for thousands of years. The Native Americans didn't plant their corn in rows or one seed in each hole. It seems like they planted them in groups or mounds, exactly like I did here with this experiment. I planted them in groups, a lot of seeds in one hole. And I planted the same seed. I planted Hopi blue, the exact same genetics that they developed over thousands of years. So I planted the same seed in the same method, which tells me that the people that domesticated this plant and farmed it successfully for thousands of years and planted it in the way that I'm planting it today didn't care that it fell over, and that it must have fallen over because I've done what they did and it fell over. So there's that one right next door, this one. They're laying down in all directions. It's hard to tell, but I think it's fun. They've fallen right onto their neighbors.
bringing the tassels directly on top of the silks. All right, look at this one. Completely blown over. This is row 5. So these were planted, just a hole poked in the ground, seeds dumped in, that was it. So this one here, down at the base, all right, this is where it comes out of the ground. Right here, this one, it's less than 1/4 of an inch. It's about 1/8 of an inch. Right here, this one. So it comes out of the ground 1/8 of an inch wide. You can't make this up. Follow it along. Bam. It's this one. You can see I'm wobbling it. Got a little ear corn with silks. And way down here, you can see leading up to the tassels. But look how the corn is standing on its own now, since it's blown over. And this is just twisting right around, coming up. It's crazy. Here's another really interesting plant. Again, coming out of the ground. Now this is row 1. Maybe 1/4 inch where it emerges from the dirt. But look here, she's paper thin, all the way up. Before the wind blew her over, she was probably 4 foot, maybe 5 foot tall. Let's say 5 foot tall. We've got 1-2 ears of corn. Both of them starting to silk.